All right, this week's guest is a friend, a colleague, and the ultimate entrepreneur and innovator. Sam Stern is CEO of what is now Magnify Good. He has been an entrepreneur, as you're going to hear, his entire life. Well, he has created something specifically for small nonprofits. Yes, small nonprofits using AI. Don't be scared. It's AI. He's going to talk about it. Branding and communications and how it levels the playing field so you can act like you have got a full-blown marketing and communications department. So please listen to this and enjoy this interview with Sam. Hey, did you know that we have a YouTube channel with all these podcasts and video? You get to see what's going on, what we look like when we're doing these podcasts. So if you'd like to go take a look, it's youtube.com/@thecorley company. We'll see you there. Sam, please tell us a little bit, or tell the audience a little bit about your background and how you became CEO of Magnify Good.
Oh, great. Well, thanks for having me, Michael. I want to echo your sentiments too. A good friend, and enjoy being here and appreciate the opportunity. So my background, I've always been an entrepreneur ever since my first paper route. And early on, I got into radio early on, ended up owning and being managing partner in a group of radio stations. When we sold that out, my wife and partner decided that she wanted to start an agency built on all the relationships that we already had. And so we did that. And I was sitting on the sidelines saying, hey, do it this way, do it that way, because she had worked for me in the radio business and I was used to telling her what to do. And she finally said, hey, if you're so smart, why don't you come join me in the agency business, which I did. And from there, we started an advertising agency in Vermont. And then maybe after our kids grew up, got older and went to college and we were empty nesters, we decided to come to Florida. Got some accounts in Florida, transitioned our business down there, and ended up being a for-profit. We were working with for-profit organizations as a brand agency. What we did was we would go in and we would interview their clients, and we would do a strategic kind of process where we would come up and develop a brand, and then all the executions from there. Maybe 10, 12, 15 years ago, I think, we were introduced to Deborah Jacobs from the Patterson Foundation and ended up being the communications partners, leads for the Patterson Foundation, and just fell in love with the whole nonprofit sector. And at that point, we transitioned our agency to working 100% with only nonprofits.
Very good. And that's really what you've done.
Good.
Yeah, and Magnify Good is the name, which is a wonderful name that you all came up with. And it's nice to know that you're now on tape and on audio saying your wife is your boss. And, and we all love Roxanne. So, Sam, it's really a pleasure to have you here. And you've really been embedded in the nonprofit space for 15 years, like you said, and you've learned a lot. Talk a little bit about the opportunity, because I want to dovetail this conversation into technology, because you're going to talk about something really cool with AI here. Talk about the opportunity for technology in the nonprofit space and how nonprofits ought to be thinking about it before we get into your latest opportunity.
Okay. Well, technology is at the forefront of everything these days, and it has been for a long time. I mean, going back to the internet and on and on and on, and all the iPhones and all the opportunities that all these things brought. But there has never, in my career, in my lifetime, there's never been anything as game-changing and as dramatic of a shift as AI. And what AI, in my mind, represents, it's a leveler. It's going to enable nonprofits of any size to operate like the big boys and to be able to, do the kinds of things that they've never been able to do before with respect to communications, because they don't have the money, they don't have the time, they have small staff. So AI is really going to enable them to really transform their organizations, in my view.
And so this tool, AI as a tool, we got to view it as a tool. I've heard you say that. It's a game changer. So for those of you listening, especially in the small nonprofits, being small is not an excuse not to embrace this. This is really an opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. It's the way I look at it is AI, when done properly, and I'm going to just focus on the communications aspect, because AI it's really, it's baked and embedded into every aspect of business, of anything you do. AI, there's an application for AI. So we're going to focus on communications. So with respect to what AI, the way I look at it is that AI it's like a colleague. It's like you hired someone or someone, it isn't like you even hired them. It's like they just came, they're volunteering their time 24/7. And the way that it works is I look at it like a brainstorming session. I'm having a conversation with AI, whether I'm typing it in or whether I'm vocalizing it into my computer. But it's just a conversation. It's an iteration. It's like, here's my idea. What I'm looking for is the X. And then, and when you see what the results that come back, you say, well, that's not exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking, I need it a little bit more this way. Or if it's let's say it's a letter from an executive director to their audience for a newsletter. They might say, well, I need to make it more warm, or I need to, let's cut on the jargon, or let's, whatever kind of iteration, and it's a back and forth collaboration. So it's really, it's not, people get intimidated by tech, but this is one of the least intimidating kinds of technologies that I've ever experienced.
So this is, and you've actually worked with this. So you're always on the cutting edge. I've known you for years. You've always got the latest and greatest and playing around with the latest technology. But you've now taken this AI, and I'm putting it in quotes, and you've targeted it for the nonprofit sector, specifically for communication and branding, leading to fund development. And I don't want to steal your thunder. Tell us the name, a little bit about it, and how you went to creating this, and then how will it be used?
Okay, I hope I can remember all those things.
I know. I will interject, but okay. The floor is yours, because this is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, so as you said, I've always been an early adopter. And about 3 years ago, I was attending a conference where I was introduced, to ChatGPT, to AI.
Sure.
And I was fascinated by it. And I took it home and I started playing with it for the agency. And I was going, well, how can I get this thing to write like I do? Because I would always, I can write, but it would take me a long time and I would struggle over it. So what would happen, I'd put it off or I wouldn't get to it. It was easy to postpone it because it was such a struggle. And so I would end up hiring people, and that cost a lot of money to come in and write in my voice. So I just kept playing with it and working with it. And I got it to the point where I could write and replace the writers in my, that I was, subbing out to and hiring to come in and do this work for me. With this tool, and I went, oh my God, this is amazing, and started thinking even more that what if I could unleash this and make it available for nonprofits, especially small nonprofits who don't have a brand, who don't have money, who don't have time, who don't have budget. And so I decided that, this is going to be something that I feel is going to be a game changer for nonprofits, especially in small nonprofits. So I kept working on it, and I've developed this tool called ConnectionWorks. And ConnectionWorks is like your 24/7 marketing team. It can do letters to board. It can do email newsletters. It can do social media. It can do grant writing. It can do marketing planning. It can pretty much anything written word. ConnectionWorks will do. Not only will it do it because a lot of AI tools will do that, but it's trained to do it in the voice and brand of the nonprofit, and that's really where the secret sauce is, and the superpower, if you will.
Okay, so yes, but I want to peel back the onion a little bit. So you said you played with it for 3 years. So really, give me you're talking into it, you're typing it, you're refining it. So I think people like me, who really we dabble in AI. How do you play with it?
Great question, Michael. So you have to understand in the 3 years, the tool itself has evolved, right? So it has a lot more features and a lot more options. But essentially, I'm training it. I'm taking it to college and teaching it what I want, what I don't want, what to say, what not to say, how to write, write like people talk. I'm just training it and developing a platform that will understand what my voice is, what my brand is, and giving it instructions, and then constantly looking at it, making sure that it's doing that and iterating it till it becomes very versed at writing in my style or the nonprofit style who might want to use this as well.
And one of the things that people, originally with AI, it would spit out stuff that it was not in your voice. It's very programmatic. But now what Sam's saying is it will really sound like the nonprofit, like somebody actually wrote it. You can teach this system relatively quickly, is my understanding, right, Sam, to speak in your voice?
Well, part of the onboarding session of ConnectionWorks is for me to go in and work with a small nonprofit. so that I understand it, so that I can train the tool. I mean, the great thing about technology, Michael, as you know, is it's great, but when you have to learn it, when you have to invest in it, when you have to do all those things, it just doesn't get done. So this is a turnkey package. This is a turnkey product that's already trained on the voice of the organization. And one of the side benefits that I think is undervalued and is that small nonprofits don't work on their brand. They don't know what it is, right? They can't talk about who they are and what the emotional connection that they bring to the table is. Through this onboarding process, and I've trained, and our tool Connection Works will actually help them develop their brand, and so that they'll be distinctive. It'll be different. It'll stand out in the marketplace, and always refer to that and write in that voice. And use examples. It'll know what the programs are of the nonprofits, and it can make a point and then point to one of the programs in that nonprofit as an example.
So, Sam, you mentioned branding. What is a brand and why is it important?
Oh, great question, Michael. Most people, I think brand, they get a logo and they get some colors and a little tagline or something, but that's not it. In my mind, and the way I look at it is a brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. You've got, so they're, it's what's in their mind. It's what kind of, what do they think you really are? And so it doesn't. What happens is if you don't dictate what that narrative is, then the audience is going to do it, and it's not going to be right, and it's going to, it's going to. So that needs to be controlled, and we've baked that into this tool so that people will be able to leverage that kind of thing when they're moving forward. And it also, I just say, then once you understand, emotionally how you want people to think about you and your brand, then that's when the logos and the fonts and the colors and all that come. They're a byproduct of this, really emotional connection, because then they have to visually kind of transmit that to the intended audience, and the taglines and the ads and the social media posts all come out of this emotional kind of a connection that you want to develop. That's the brand.
So what does the product look like? Is it built on a certain type of platform? I mean, how do people interface with it?
Yeah, it's built on the open AI platform, which is ChatGPT. And right now, all I have to do is send you a link. Anybody in your organization can use it as long as they have a ChatGPT account. And if you're familiar with ChatGPT, it's a breeze to use. It works exactly the same.
Excellent. And this is, I've seen a demo of this product. It's because it is it's on the market now, Sam, that you created. And it is absolutely fascinating in the matter of seconds what can be created. So literally, you can have a marketing department that you think is staffed with multiple people. And it's just this AI, it's Connection Works, this AI tool that speaks in your voice because you as a human have intervened at the very beginning to help create the brand and the voice. And I think that's kind of the secret sauce, isn't it?
I would say so, yeah. Because as you said, I mean, generic AI, you can spot it a mile away, and it's there's a term for it. I forget what people, it's garbage. I don't know. I mean, this tool is like any other kind of technology tool. It's garbage in, garbage out. So if it's not trained properly and it's not, and if it doesn't understand what you're looking for, then it's just, it's going to be generic. It's not going to be, it's going to sound like somebody in some other state wrote it for you that knows nothing about your organization.
So for those who are fearful of the technology, because, I don't want to learn AI, really, you got Sam coming in to help you, Sam and team, with your branding and going through that methodology. You're building the tool as you go. And so really, there shouldn't be anything fearful. To me, it sounds almost, it's easy. I don't have to learn AI. You're going to onboard me, help build my brand, and then it's going to go from there, for lack of a better term, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's legitimate fears that people have with this in the nonprofit sector. I mean, generally speaking, nonprofits are slow to adopt. There's, are we going to be doing something wrong? Is it ethical? There's a number of considerations that are legitimate and people should concern. But when done right, it's going to, change change the way organizations operate. And really, I think one of the big problems for nonprofits, the small nonprofits especially, that they don't have a brand, so people don't know what they're about. They've got a logo and a name, but this is, by communicating in an emotional way through a brand that's been developed and automating it. People are going to see a direct correlation after time in their donations and in the growth of the organization.
Really, and this is a fun development play. I mean, right? And that's what nonprofits are. The lifeblood is funding, and so by having this tool and creating a brand, and now you can externally communicate in the matter of seconds, very efficiently. The result's going to be you're going to get more donations.
You're going to get more donations. You're going to get more time in the newspapers and in the media. You're going to get, you're going to have a better engagement on social media. You're going to write better proposals and grants. It all kind of all those things come into play, and will eventually, really help your organization in meaningful ways.
Okay, there's somebody listening here who's going to want to reach out to you, and we're going to give you contact information in a minute, but they're going to go to their board and say, hey, I heard this podcast, and they're like, oh no, AI, I don't know. What should somebody say to board members that are concerned about AI? How do we mitigate that concern?
That's a great question. Well, first of all, board members, they don't need to be experts. They don't need to even know anything about AI. I think that people at this point, whether you're a board member or somebody else, understand that AI isn't some passing fad, right? It's here. It's so by I think that if they might become intimidated if they said, okay, we got to hire a consultant. We got to come in here and try and figure out how can we apply AI to our specific organization, then it's going to become intimidating. I think if they understand that AI is, that if they can develop their brand and they can leverage it with AI, they're going to be miles ahead than they would be if they didn't.
And what's fascinating, thank you for sharing that. What's fascinating about this, I work with a lot of boards, especially, and even with small nonprofits, and that is always the thing. We need to brand. We need to get our word out. And we just don't have the resources. We got 1 or 2 or 3 employees. We don't have, a marketing director. We don't have really even a head of development sometimes. And what I'm hearing you say is this tool, this could be your department, your communications department.
100%. Michael, when we small nonprofits could never afford to hire us in the past.
Oh, yeah.
And we would come in and we would, work on brand for, larger organizations that could spend, 5 figures to 6 figures on something like that. So it's out of the question for these small nonprofits. And that, I really want to emphasize the fact, and thank you for asking that this is an opportunity to really understand your brand and to build it and to develop it in ways that that people will relate to and understand on an emotional basis. And the emotion is going to lead to them reaching into their wallets and giving you more money.
Yeah. And so as somebody who's listening, and I hope a lot of people are, and they want to learn more, Sam, or they want to see a demo or information, please share with the audience where people can find that.
If you go to connectionworks.ai, there's a page right there. You can sign up. It explains what the tool is on one page. It's not a whole website. It's just boom. And there's a place on there where you can get a demo, and I'd be happy to demo that for anybody that's interested, because I think it's going to be a game changer for you.
Yeah, and you've really made it easy. I mean, what you all have learned at Magnify Good over the years, work with the nonprofits and your commitment to the industry, and especially the small ones. Sam, I love this. You've created this for the small nonprofits to level the playing field in the branding and communications arena. And I hope people will reach out to you, because this is really, really a game changer. For those of you listening, I'm not going to share the pricing because pricing changes over time, but this is extremely affordable. Sam, the way you've priced it, you haven't priced this to get rich. You've priced it to help people. I know the industry will appreciate you for that. So any last words, Sam, as we're wrapping up the podcast, you'd like to share with the audience?
It's pretty wide open. Okay. I just hope you'll reach out and take advantage of this, because really at this stage of my career, we've done well. We've had a great run, and this is really my opportunity to give back to the small nonprofits that really need it, that are making a difference out there in the world and are really struggling, especially with all the things that are going on in our world right now. So, please, I'm here to help, and I really want to make this thing happen for you, a small nonprofit.
Well stated, and you do mean that. You're sincere, Sam. You and Roxanne are special people, and you just want to contribute to our community and small nonprofits across the country. So thank you for what you're doing, and really appreciate you coming on today's podcast.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, now it's time for Recapping with Reed. Reed, we just heard from Sam Stern. What were your 3 takeaways?
He talked a lot about brand. And that led me to ask, well, what is a brand? How does he view that? And a brand is what people think of you when you're not in the room. It's not just your logo and your colors. It's the emotions your organization gives off. It's what people think when you're not there.
And number 2.
This product that Sam has developed will level the playing field with some of the larger organizations for the smaller organizations. So it does feel like you have an entire marketing team working with you.
Yeah, and it's called ConnectionWorks.ai. And number 3.
I think the most important part about this is he said, if you feed it garbage, it's going to give you garbage. And that's why with this product, Sam comes along with it to help train it on your voice and make it so it's not garbage coming out. This is something of value. It's not AI slop. It will provide you content in your voice.
Yeah, and I had a chance to see a demo, and it blew me away. How easy it is, and the wording, the personal. This is something worth exploring if you are a small nonprofit. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Recapping with Reed. His 3 takeaways, and we will I-501 see you next week.